Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Johnny Ringer. We're going to talk about some surf stories from the 1969 era. Well, I lived in Dana Point. We were going to Marco Forster Junior High School. We were total grommets at the time. Surfboards, they were getting shorter, but we still had egg rails. Surfboard boxes, the fin boxes had just come in. Hobie had this brilliant idea. He came out with the pickle model. So it had a fin box on one on each end. One was a round pintail, the other was a round tail. You simply switched the fin to the other side and just reversed the board around. You had two surfboards in one. It was called the pickle. It was quite ingenious. Maybe one of you guys could, take up on that idea these days. Okay, so that was the Hobie Manufacturing Center down there, the Hobie Factory, as it was known. And all the blanks were from Grubby Clark, and they were called Clark Foam. He went out of business a few years back. So that was down in Capitol Beach. They had the Hobie Factory. That's where we met all the Pattersons. Made friends with the Pattersons. They were the glassers and the sanders for Hobie. Hobie was busy doing his Hobie catamaran thing, and he was a great guy. I became really good friends with Hobie later on, when we were seniors. And I was friends with Hobie Jr. growing up. Of course, we called him Hobie Alter Jr. We called him a beaver because he had big cheeks and big old beaver teeth when he was a little grommet. Okay, so that was right down in Capitol Beach, down around the area where Calvary Chapel on Dominguez Road down there is. Mickey Munoz lives down there nowadays. I think I've seen his camper down there. And so down at the end of the street where Mickey lives, where the fire department is back there, was John Severson's little office. It was just one desk in a little wooden shack. John Severson, Surfer Magazine. And it was so cool. We used to walk back there. He had a pomegranate tree that came with his office property. And so he used to let us pick the pomegranate. So we'd always stop and get a pomegranate and say hi to John Severson, see what he was up to, take a look at some photographs that were coming in and stuff. It was really cool. We lived up on the hill on Upper Zarzito. So we discovered Salt Creek and Dana Strand and all that, and so one of my friends was Randy Sleighs. Well, the deal was my mom came up with the idea to send Johnny Boy. I guess I was all of 14 years old. She wanted to send me to Hawaii. She said, all the other kids had something special in their life, Johnny, Joey was this AAA crown champion of San Diego County and stuff like that. And she goes, I'd just like to, help you out, and we're going to send you to Hawaii. And I was like, oh, really? I get to go to Hawaii? Me? You'll be going with your brother Jim, and you'll be staying with Randy Etherton. And he had a little place on Cam Highway right across the street from Belzyland. So we were staying with Lori Knauer, their little baby Miley, and Randy Etherton. We were staying down there. I remember listening to Cat Stevens was the big album we had and stuff. So every night it would clear out. Nobody was out at Belzyland at sunset. We'd go down and have it at sunset all to ourselves, Belzyland. I'm goofy foot, so it's got this mean little left that goes into a really shallow little shelf. You don't want to go left too much because then you end up in ankle-deep water at the end of your ride. But it was worth it. It was just a perfect little, to me, it was just blowing me away. And the backside was a Belzyland bowl. I'm sure it's still there today. It's a nice little bowl that you can work into that bowl, work into that little barrel on your backhand. And back to Dana Point now, before I left for Hawaii, Randy Sleighs came over. He's like, Johnny, we're going to make you a surfboard. I hear you going to Hawaii. I go, yeah, what am I going to ride? He goes, oh, we're going to make you a board, man. It's going to be my first board, Johnny. I can do it, So I went down to Clark Foam and I got us his blank. And it was kind of a little leftover blank, so it's kind of small, but we're going to work that into something, a little gun, a little mini gun for you. Okay, so that sounds good. And the thrusters were years away, but boards were getting progressively shorter back then. Yeah, so it was going to be my first real short board or high performance, so he picked up this blank, and it had this big purple wedge in it of foam. It was bright purple. And I guess maybe it had two stringers, one on each side of that foam as it came back, and it was like about a 7-foot blank, 6 or 7 feet in that range. So he starts shaping it in my garage in Dana Point in Upper Zarzito. So we built some little racks, and he's out there sanding it, and he had a good little shape on it. It was a little mini gun with the big Nat Young. Nat Young and George Green, Evolution had just come out. We had just seen it at the San Clemente Theater, the one that's down there by San Clemente train station on the beach there. The old San Clemente Theater used to be a big place for surf movies. It's all the Endless Summer and Evolution, and a lot of the Lost Island and Santosha, I guess, came a few years after that. But anyways... ran back to the shaping, okay? So he's like, Johnny, I got this nice V. So it's just this radical V bottom in the back. And it got sort of wide and just came to this big V tail. The nose was really gunny, and he's like, there's a little too much on the right-hand side. You see that, Johnny? See that little lump over there? Okay, we're going to take that off. And he'd work on that side. Like, Johnny, I hate to say it, but the left side's a little big now. Okay, so we're going to take some of that off. So he's working on that left side and sanding it down. Now the right side, by the time he got done, it was this little 5'6" by 17 inches wide little twig that they put me on a plane, sent me to Hawaii with. First spot I went out was Rocky Point. Paddled out, took off on my first wave in the island ever. Took off. Man, I went straight over the falls on my first wave, snapped the nose off, just got totally ground. Oh, man, I'll never forget that. And we were staying with Randy Etherton. Magilla was the big shaper over there on the North Shore. And those were good times, man. We glassed that board in the garage, too. We got the fiberglass. Randy finished it off right in my garage, and I remember we put too much catalyst when we put the fin on. We put too much catalyst and it caught on fire. And this stuff can actually, ignite if you put too much catalyst, put enough catalyst. The thing ignited and almost burnt down the house. My mom, the poor thing, she would put up through all of this, But she got me the ticket to go over there. Had the time of my life. I got to go to H. Mura, was the big tailors in Haleiwa. You go to H. Mura, they make you custom-made trunk. You pick your fabric out and they take your measurements and they make you surf trunks. So I ordered my H mirrors. It was my big bang. And then my mom said, oh, Johnny, if you want to stay and go to high school over there, you can on the North Shore there. And you can stay with Randy. Randy said it's okay. Randy Etherton. So we go to Kahuku High School. I was supposed to register and stuff, and it came up. We were in our Volkswagen Bug. We had a little baby, mind you. Miley was with us. He's in his baby chair. And Lori gave me a ride over there in the Bug, and we're sitting in front of the school, and the Hawaiian kids walked up. Hey, what are you doing, Holly? What do you like go to school over here? In Kahuku? No, you like school over here, brah. That's good because Tuesday's beat up a holiday, brah. I'm like, what? Beat up a holiday? What the hell is that? They're like, oh, that's when we beat you up. And if you don't come that day, when we catch you, you get twice the licking after that. So I'm like, oh, man. So I opted out of going to Kahuku. I came back and went to Laguna High School. I had the choice. I could either go to San Clemente High School or I could go to Laguna High School, but I would have to find my own way. But back then it was so crowded, I got this really cool, 10-speed road racing bike. And I could go we had moved from Dana Point to Laguna Niguel, Los Naranjas for a couple of years before we moved into Laguna. And I could go to Laguna or I could go to San Clemente. It was right on the line. So I chose to go to Laguna where all the cool bros were. And I thought they had the better surfers, And there's all kinds of cool surfers over there. My friend George Hansen and Danny Tilton and Doug Brown, Doug Brown, they lived right below the high school. We used to hang out heavily at his house, And he became a legend in Hawaii surfing. And I'll tell you those stories later. But that's enough for today, man. Okay? And if you could please hit the like button and the subscribe button, it would be doing me a big favor. I want to get monetized one of these days. I put all my songs on that. I didn't do anything. But maybe in my surf stories. But I got some health hints coming up and all kinds of neat stuff. And the story of my own personal life is quite incredible too, and that's called The Ripples of War. My Jewish heritage and faith, and how my ancestors got executed in the Holocaust, and how my grandfather escaped, and that's how I got to live. But that's a very interesting story that I'll be telling you later on. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button if you can. Thanks. I'll talk to you later. Bye.